Hey gorgeous people, let's get right into it. So if you are new here, my name is Tia, and here on Always More to See, I love sharing my travel adventures and a few other things, whether that's me juicing, working out, training for half marathons, which I've done in the past, and I may be thinking about doing another one. But if you have been with me for a while, I definitely appreciate the love and support that you all have shown me. I am so excited for this new year and all of the things that I have coming up. So definitely stay tuned. But let's dive into today's video, which is me being here on vacation. And I'm in the Philippines, you all, and I'm so excited to be here. And let me tell y'all, it has been a journey, you hear me, to get from Cleveland, Ohio to the Philippines. So y'all know I have to give you all of the tea. So we're gonna run it back. We're gonna do a little rewind to show you how I got here. So I started in Cleveland, Ohio today. Well, technically not today. I started in Cleveland, Ohio on January 1st, 2025. My flight was departing at like 6 p.m. From there, I hit Atlanta, and that was a smooth ride, no issues. Oh, I did want to mention that this is my first time ever traveling on a holiday, and I was quite surprised how empty the airports were. Like, it was not really busy in Cleveland. It didn't take me long to get through security, and we only had 2 security entrances open. So I was really happy to see that it was not like chaotic because it just made the journey that much easier to start. However, because I like to show up as my whole self and my authentic self here, and I feel like it just also helps you all come into my journey a little bit better, I did want to share, like, I had such mixed emotions as I started my journey of traveling over here to the Philippines, because I hadn't traveled internationally in probably like a year or year and a half, and I have no problem with traveling internationally, and I have no problem with traveling alone. But just because of the way of the world right now, I think some of that was playing in, and I had never traveled this far by myself. So I was like kind of freaking out just a little bit, if I'm being 1000% honest with you all. It was just all a mind game, honestly, and watching the news and seeing the stuff that was happening, it was literally kind of freaking me out. But I have such an amazing support system, so they, helped me through it, let me know that I was gonna be good. I checked in with them on every stop of the way. So needless to say, I did make it here very safely. Every flight went according to plan, and I'm very happy that I made it. So if you all are nervous about taking your first solo trip or traveling internationally, just kind of woosah out, talk to your support system, and I know they will help you just as well as mine's helped me. So let's get back into what we're here to discuss, which is my trip. So like I mentioned, I left Cleveland at 6 p.m., landed in Atlanta at like 8 p.m., and I had about a 3-hour or so layover there. So I made sure I grabbed me something to eat because, as you all know, I am a very picky eater, and I absolutely knew I was not going to eat anything on the flight. So I made sure I did pack me some snacks. However, my snacks were for more so while I'm traveling, like while I'm in a particular country, versus me eating them on the plane, just in case I didn't find food here that I would like. I had something that I can at least snack on and make it through the journey, right? So got on my flight from Atlanta to South Korea, and that was my longest haul. That was a 14-hour and like 56-minute flight, and I was like, Lord, this is the longest flight I've ever been on. And it actually went really smoothly because I slept, because I didn't leave Atlanta until 11:45. So the timing kind of worked out really perfectly, because obviously I would be normally sleeping around that time. So I probably was up for all of 3.5 hours for the flight. The first hour and a half, I was up because we did get dinner served about an hour into the flight. Needless to say, I did not eat it. But we did get dinner service. I just had like a cup of water or something like that. Watched a movie, and then I went to sleep. And then I got up when they were serving breakfast, which happened about an hour and a half prior to us landing. So I did get to experience both of that. We did have a snack on the flight, but I was clearly asleep, so I missed my snack. And the flight over was really good. It was a sold out flight, which I was kind of shocked that it was a sold out flight. I don't know if it's because I was traveling on New Year's Day that I was anticipating it not to be full, but I was. And that and that plane was definitely sold out. Every seat was full. So that experience was good. The South Korea, where was I? In Seoul. I was in Seoul's airport, and that airport is massive, you all. Like, that airport was so big, but it was really clean. It was really updated, very modern airport. Because I was transferring over to another flight, it was quite simple. Their boards that show like the arrivals and departs and stuff like that, I will say that it took me a minute to read the board to see where my flight was taken out of, because on my Delta app, I didn't get a chance to catch the boarding gate prior to me arriving, because either they didn't have it on there or I didn't capture it in my screenshot, because I always capture my boarding passes before I leave the States. That way I don't have any issues when I get into new countries, whether that's the Wi-Fi isn't working or things are just moving really slow. I always like to capture screenshots. That way I have everything when I'm in country and I don't have to worry about Wi-Fi, because I am not the person that gets like the SIM cards to put in for the international phone calls and stuff like that, or international Wi-Fi and everything, or just internet itself. I don't do any of that. And maybe I should, but for the most part, I really do get by on the Wi-Fi, because you can still call and text on that. So for the most part, I'll be good. And so when I landed, it was kind of difficult for me to read the board because it was changing from English to Korean, which obviously makes sense since I was in their country, but it was kind of going a little fast and I had to take a minute to read that board. But after I got that figured out, it was pretty simple and self-explanatory to kind of maneuver through the airport. Their signages were great when it came to that. There is this section I showed up here on the screen where I had to scan my passport, and then on the screen, once I did that, it had me pick my, or actually not pick, I had to input my flight number, and then there were a list of different ones, so you just make sure you pick the correct one. And I guess that's also their way to make sure you're in the right location, which is good, because just in case you're supposed to be somewhere else, then you wouldn't have gotten entry into the incorrect terminal. So I did that, walked through the gates, and after that, I had to go through customs. No, not customs, probably immigration. And they had to check my luggage and stuff like that, making sure that I didn't bring anything in that I wasn't supposed to. From there, it was time for me to go find my gate. Like I said, signage was really good. I had no issues reading and maneuvering through the airport. They had free Wi-Fi and it was fast. I definitely appreciated that. Their seating areas had wireless chargers, USB chargers, and like, what's the other charger? Their outlets. So whatever size their outlets is, that was also on the seat. So had all of your options that you needed when it came to charging up your devices and stuff like that. So I definitely always appreciate when I can recharge up my devices and be good to go. So that was South Korea, and took off from there and came to Manila. Now, when I left South Korea, I was flying on Korean Air. And that was my first time flying on their aircraft. I had Googled like how strict they were on their bag policies, what kind of experiences other people had, just because I have never flown them. So I wanted to be prepared. And for the most part, people said they was relatively lax. But the part that had got me was when I got to the gate, I did see a whole scale where you can put your luggage on and they can weigh it. And so I was like, oh crap, I wonder if they're really about to weigh my luggage. And I seen people's luggage getting weighed. However, mine did not get weighed. So I don't know if that was something different that they had going on or what the case was, but I was good. My luggage, I made sure that I just carried it on. I didn't check any bags or anything like that. So I just had my carry-on luggage and then my backpack. So that was good. The Planes was nice. They did have your TVs and your outlets so you can charge up on there, watch TV. So I appreciated that. We did have a dinner service on them, and I want to say, no, we didn't have a snack, just dinner. So we got dinner. Then they did offer dessert, which was some ice cream. And then after that, they offered tea, hot tea, if you wanted that, or coffee. So definitely thought that was cool for them to come down the aisles and do all of that. Appreciated flying on Korean Air. So definitely would not mind flying on them again, as this is my first time flying with them. After that, I landed in Manila. Now, this is where the traveling became an adventure, you all. So when I landed in Manila, there is this government app that you are supposed to verify your passport information, how long you're going to be in a country, all of that fun stuff, right? And I literally, you all, tried to fill out this app twice while being at home, and then once when I was sitting in Atlanta, and it was just not working. Like every time I click verify, it would allow me to put in all information, and then it would time out on me. And so I was like, all right, say less. We'll just figure it out, I guess, when we arrive. And that was not great. That was not great at all, because I landed, I seen all of the nice little signage saying you need to do this, you must fill it out, otherwise you are not going to be able to pass like the immigration space. So I'm like, all right, let's just see what happens. Internet or the Wi-Fi was not working in the airport, and I went through the immigrations, got to where they was going to check my passport and everything like that, and then the lady asked me for my barcode for this app. And so I didn't have it. I did not have it. So she asked me to step to the side, go fill it out, and I can ask the people at the information desk to help me. So I go over there, I'm showing them the app because I did have it. However, every time I tried to log in, it wasn't working. Then the Wi-Fi wasn't working. So they had to actually log me in to the admin version of the website, or the admin version of the Wi-Fi. They put their password in and all of that jazz, right? So I got that, filled out all of my information, and then I was able to go through. That took probably like 10 minutes or so. Not the best experience, because I had another plane to catch, and I didn't necessarily know where I was going, because this is my first time here in the Philippines. So I wasn't sure what the airport layout looked like. I will say, because I like to be prepared, I did Google the airport, and it still did not necessarily help me that much. But I did Google it. So after I got my passport stamped and stuff like that, went through, I had to change terminals, and I was not prepared to change terminals, especially not like at a long distance. So I arrived in Terminal 1, and I had to get to Terminal 3. For the most part, like anytime I'm traveling, I might need to take a shuttle bus or something that's within the same like area, right? However, this one, not so much. So I asked for some assistance, and they're like, oh, you have to go to Terminal 3. This is Terminal 1. We do have a free shuttle service. However, it doesn't leave until 12:30. I arrived at 12 o'clock. I needed to be at the gate, it said prior to 1:15 or by 1:15. And so they were like, I would probably suggest that you take a taxi, because we don't take off until 12:30. It was like a 15-minute ride over there. And if I needed to check my luggage in and stuff like that, that would continue to take time, and I could potentially be late, right? And I could not afford to miss any type of connections or anything, because everything is so back to back for me right now. And so I'm like, okay, we're not going to take the free shuttle, even though your girl definitely loves the free. So I left out of the airport, it was just like a little walk down to get on to take the yellow taxis. And they only take cash. And I'm so happy that I exchanged my money way before coming over here. Life is just really easier exchanging money at your banks back home versus thinking about it in the airport. I would definitely say today was a day that I appreciated myself for exchanging money prior to like arriving into said destination. So got to the taxi. I just had to give her my name and then like what terminal I was going to, and then I grabbed the taxi. It charged by the meter and it started at 75 pesos. So literally it was probably a 10-minute ride in the taxi, because I took the Skyway and that had less traffic on it. So my driver did ask me if it was okay for him to take the Skyway, because I would have to pay the Skyway fee, which is 47 pesos, and that is only cash as well. So I had that and I was fine with that. And then I had to obviously pay for the taxi, and my taxi fee was 455 pesos. So all in all, I don't think I spent more than $10 for the taxi ride over and covering the Skyway fee. And I did get there in time, so I was more so appreciative of spending the money, because I was going to get to my next terminal and next gate on time, and I did not want to be rushing because I don't speak the language. The signage here it's good, but it just took me a minute to like kind of wrap my head around it and making sure I'm reading things correctly and going in the correct direction. So I just wanted to have the time to be able to do that versus like rushing. And I'm like, oh my God, where am I supposed to go? Checking the time. Like, I don't like to travel in that type of manner, especially in a foreign country. So I got over there in enough time. The other thing was, make sure you always have your boarding pass and your passport handy, because that stuff got checked like at every turn. So after I arrived at Terminal 3, before I was even allowed into the airport, they checked my passport and my boarding pass. Then I got to the domestic departs, and they checked my passport and my boarding pass again before I was able to go through security. So every step of the way, my stuff got checked, and I was so glad that I had like this jacket on. I had like this front pouch, so I just kept everything right there. And like I said, my boarding pass was a screenshot on my cell phone versus me having a paper boarding pass. So that made life a little bit easier. Went through security. If you arrive extremely early for your flight, they do have these waiting areas. So everyone is literally like facing forward, because I was kind of tripped out when I seen. I was like, what is these people doing? But they're literally sitting there in the waiting area to see what gate they're going to be departing from. And so there's this screen there, and they're just waiting because they don't know where they're going, essentially. So if you get there early, they do have a location where you can just wait to see what gate your flight is departing from. So those were a few things that I wanted to mention as I traveled on this journey today, or over the course of 2 days. Over the course of 2 days, this has been my experience. And then I'm trying to think if something else happened when I was in Manila. My gate did end up changing. With my gate change, we ended up having to take a bus to our plane, which isn't bad. I feel like I've done this before, but I can't remember where. But it wasn't bad. The buses were strictly just for our particular flight. So there wasn't any confusion about who should be on the bus and then like when you needed to get off the bus. So that was mad chill. These planes were nice. They were big. Because my flight from Manila to Boracay was only like an hour, maybe an hour 10 max. There was no TV or outlets on these aircrafts. There was a snack/beverage service. However, you did have to pay. I didn't check the prices because I was trying to catch a quick snooze. So sorry about that. But as far as the flight over was mad chill. The Boracay airport is extremely small, you all. Like, this airport is that large. So after we arrived, got off the plane, walked to the arrival section, and as you can see everything. From the front of the building to the back of the building, and then your quick little carousel. Like, this airport is extremely small, probably the smallest airport that I've been in. And but it makes it easy to get around, essentially. And I did schedule my shuttle service from the airport to the hotel, which is where I am now. And this was another journey. This was an adventure to get to this hotel, you all. So I landed at like 2 p.m. and I probably cleared the carousel area and walked to where I needed to grab the shuttle by like 2:15. So this adventure came with so many forms of transportation. So I scheduled my shuttle service through the hotel by checking into my room essentially at 48 hours before I was supposed to arrive. So I checked in on the 1st. I wasn't supposed to arrive to the 3rd, and they were able to get it all scheduled. So I just used the chat service on the Marriott app and asked them if they can help me get a shuttle service. If you don't have the Marriott app, you can definitely always reach out to the hotels via like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, because I did try that route first, and that was only because I wasn't able to find a customer service email or anything like that, and I didn't call because it was an international phone number. So I just used my resources, which was Instagram, and then once I was able to check into my room, I went ahead and used the app. Back to the journey of getting here. So went ahead, got checked in at the desk, and I had to wait just briefly, and then I got on a van slash bus, like a shuttle bus. So got on that, drove maybe 10 minutes, and when we got to this like terminal space, they was like, all right, we have arrived. And I was like, this does not look like the Marriott. So this terminal space was a drop-off point. So after they dropped us off here, then we had to go get a boarding pass to get onto a boat. However, when they dropped us off and said, you're here, there were no instructions. Like, there wasn't an instruction to go to the left, go to the right, go straight, or anything. I was just like, where I'm supposed to go. So I just so happened to follow the crowd of people who got off my shuttle, and they veered to the left. So I just kind of started going in that same direction. And then I seen signage for the tour company that I was using. So I was like, okay, we're going in the right direction. So we get there. There's this little space or section where you're checking in, and they ask you for your passport information and essentially what hotel you're going to. However, they do give you a sticker when you first check in at the airport that they ask you to put on your shirt, so everyone who is involved in this experience can see where you're supposed to be going. So that was cool. After I got checked in, I waited maybe 10 minutes or so. They give you this little boarding pass, so you would listen for that boarding pass color. My color was blue. And then it was off to go stand in another line to get on this little boat. So I got on this boat ride, maybe another 10 minutes. That took me to another terminal. And here, once again, no instructions. Just a ton of people ascending onto this one particular location. And I'm like, once again, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? It was a chaotic experience. Only chaotic because there was no clear instructions provided. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to be doing? So when I get here, I'm like trying to figure it out, get my bearings, see if I see any signage once again for the tour company that I'm using. And someone just so happened to see me veering in the essentially wrong direction, another tour company, and she seen my sticker and she was like, oh, you're supposed to be over here. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I go stand in this line and I see the tour man with his clipboard and everything like that. And he didn't necessarily acknowledge me. So after a few times of him walking past, I was like, excuse me, am I supposed to check in or something? Like, how do I get on the shuttle so I can get to where I need to go? Because at this point, y'all, I'm not necessarily sleepy, but your girl is tired of moving from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Like, I just really wanted to get to the hotel at this point. So he was like, oh yeah, you got to check in. So he takes my name and the hotel and everything like that. Once again, wait on this shuttle van and finally get on the shuttle. And there's multiple people on the shuttle. So I had 3 stops prior to getting to my hotel. And this experience from landing to arriving at my hotel probably took me about a good hour 15, hour and a half. So it was a journey to get here, y'all. Like, your girl was over it. This was the longest travel experience I have ever had. But I made it. Everything worked out. I made it here safely. I will be here in time for the wedding with no issues. So I'm so excited for that. Now it is time to shower, decompress, and see what the night has to offer. I have been in contact with my friend who's getting married. So I'm going to see if we're going to meet up tonight. It is 6:46 right now. So I'm not tired, but I could just relax and sit in the room, honestly. So we'll see what happens. If I do step outside, I will definitely take you all on the journey with me, of course. If not, I will see you all at the wedding tomorrow, which I'm so excited for. So that has been my journey, y'all. It was a long one. It was definitely a long one, but I would not change it because I wanted to be here to support my friend, love him dearly. Like, we have been friends since 2009, like, and it's 2025. Oh my God, like, that is my friend. I can always depend on him whenever I'm in New York City or New Jersey. I know we will always link up, and he has my back no matter what. So I had to be here to celebrate his big day, and I'm so excited. So that is my journey, you all. Like I said, I'll check in with you all tomorrow.